He's currently doing interesting stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he's doing, in addition to running IT at the company he works for, he's also the de facto furniture mover. So
Oh,
they had
no.
to he had to head over there with my younger son and move desks.
Lovely.
Awesome. Yeah. Exactly.
I can think of better things to do on
Saturday.
my summer break, you know.
Wait a minute. You get breaks?
I was about to say there's no breaks.
Not really. I might take some, but I don't necessarily get them.
Be like that internet meme. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. You guys do this?
You guys get paid?
Yeah, how does that work? Hello, chat. How the hell are you? I see signs of life over there. That's always a good
They're
thing.
all rapidly filing in.
They're trying to get over the hangovers they all have from last night. Except for Matt. He's still drunk.
Are you kidding? He just started drinking.
I was about to say he's far enough ahead. He's got Saturday night taken care of.
Hey, Tim. Yeah, seems like the usual suspects. No, JR is in here. Last night, did I miss something?
The only way
I
JR
believe-
gets hair of the dog is when he licks the dog.
Oh my God, we really need to go there. Matt, I believe he was insinuating that you were drunk last night, therefore you're still drunk. We are discombobulated. Yes, something along those lines.
I mean,
Never mind, I'll save that one for after dark. Don't ask. I think of stupid stuff. I'm good at it.
Writers, yes.
There are writers in here?
Well, I mean, you
didn't know.
said you think of stupid stuff, so I was like,
Oh, writers, you know, you just,
yeah.
all I got to do is look in Discord to see what kind of the quality of people we have, you know, in this community. I'm watching you,
Shenanigans.
Discord. I'm watching you. You should be deeply concerned. You think the hosts are the drunkards?
Jokes on you.
I might have been. I don't remember after the first bottle of Jack. Well, there we go. There we go. I'll probably have to join you somewhere near the middle of the show. But howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society podcast. I am Paul E. Cooley, and joining me today is Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon.
That's a pretty good Nixon impression. But
Oh,
you gotta
thank you.
get your fingers up like this.
Yeah, that would make it too easy, though. I didn't want to go the full Nixon. You know, you never go the full Nixon.
You never go full Nixon.
Never go full Nixon. If you've seen Tropic Thunder, you know what I'm referencing. Oh yeah, I'm not even going to say it. Well, now that we got that out of the way, V, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I was up way too late last night for a hockey watch party, so that was fun. I on my way to the watch party. I drove halfway, and my husband drove the other half of the way. Kids are in the car, and checking my email as one does, and I get an email from the folks at Bayan. And they're like, hey, so we've slotted the release for the stories that you're writing. So, shameless plug.
I saw that.
Yeah. So Misty and I are writing the sequel to The Ship Who Searched. And it's slated for a spring 2026 release. And they're going to be working on cover art. And that's great. And I'm like, shit, I gotta finish this sucker.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
Finally, V gets drawn into the thing that all the rest of us writers get. Oh shit, I've actually got to write it now.
Oh no, it's like we're over 50,000, like 55,000 words. So we're good. I just have to make sure that I'm chugging along. I'm on like the last chapter ish. they're long chapters, but I've hit the finale part of the outline. So we'll be good.
What's the projected word count?
Misty wants it to be at least 80.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the goal is to finish the draft, and then we've got to add in points of view, scenes from other characters, pull some stuff together.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it'll get there. It's not an issue of it not getting there. It was just like, oh, it's going to be a real book by this time. Like, oh, crap. Which then I went, oh, could be an audiobook. So now I have to navigate the question of who do they contract for audio? Who do I have to talk to now to make sure I am top of mind to narrate it? Because it's just because I helped write it doesn't mean that I'll automatically be narrating it, since it's going through her agent,
publisher.
So I'd like to get the groundwork done now, because that would be awesome.
It would be awesome, but if they don't select you, don't take it personally.
No, I won't. I won't. Much.
Yeah, much. Tell her, Paula. Tell her.
Hopefully I will. I know more about the process now of how to do it. So, and the fact that I've got over 100 books put down, and one of the latest is the anthology that I did for Misty. So I should be okay, hopefully. And I got another one that just came out that's a YA dystopian sci-fi. So it'll hit much of that same. It ticks some of the same boxes that this does. So fingers crossed. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, and recording, learning a Welsh accent, loads of fun.
A Welsh accent. Oh my God.
There's a lot of the best way I can describe it is I have to take my British RP, tune it slightly north, and then trill the R's and L's with the tip of my tongue. So judiciously.
We're listening.
No, I can't. Nope. I do not. Unless I am fully confident in an accent, I don't do it on command. Exactly. Thank you for the backup there.
Leo says he is fully on board with your thought.
You know what? So, oddly enough, no, a Welsh accent is not a drunk Scottish accent. At least not your stereotypical one. I was told I could not go full Wrexham for this, and that would be awful. So I'm not. And I'm supposed to be like, it's for the voice of Merlin, because evidently in this series, Merlin is a really good-looking Welshman. Who knew? And he can talk to dragons, as one does. So it'll be fun. It'll be fine.
Terry, what's up in your world?
What else? Home renovations.
Woo.
What is the latest on the ongoing dumpster fire that's been going on for months?
Well, it's not awful, because it's basically the same thing that it was last week. We're still waiting for the pencil ends for the tile to come in so that they can finish repairing the tile that they end up broken. But the upstairs ceiling fan, the fart fan in the bathroom that you turn on that moves the air, started making noise. That's what they call it, so I'm going to call it that too, the fart fan. Started making noise, like something was impacting the fan, so they had the electrician come out. And apparently inside this metal box, it's got a metal wraparound sheet that creates a plenum chamber so that it has a way to blow the air down the pipe. Apparently it wasn't secured to anything and was just rubbing against things. So they had to take a screw and attach it to the metal side. I'm like, don't you think you should probably do that as a matter of course?
Before you install it? Before you call it good? Oh my God, that's bad.
That's a relatively minor thing. So it's fixed and done.
What other odds and ends? You were just a nightmare to these contractors.
I know, right? I gave him an opportunity when he was out here. I said, "Do you think you need to look down at the downstairs and get it fixed if you need it? Oh, the downstairs can be okay. We'll see how that turns out."
Oh God.
But what else was there? The only thing left with the home renovation is them getting the pencil tile and in putting the filling in the little bit of sheetrock that they gouged out while taking it out, and repainting both in the bathroom, that little spot, and the closet where they had to cut it open to put the mounting for the towel racks. Once they do that, they're done. It's finished. That's all that's left. So maybe next week that will happen.
Don't take this wrong, but I'll believe it when I see it.
I kind of will believe it when I see it too. Of course, you know, that's a totally separate thing. Once that happens, then we've got to have the upstairs windows replaced. The windows are downstairs in the garage waiting. We can't schedule it until they're done because I need to release the cats. And that's not going to happen immediately because the few times we've let the cats into each other's presence, they've been separated long enough to where now there is trouble between the groups. The boys and the girls not getting along so great. It's really weird because the boys are all in one room together and they're all copacetic. They've got no issues. There's no tearing up. Even Houdini's not peeing on things in there. But the girls, oh my gosh, they're tearing things up. They're getting after each other. I'm like, this is weird. Why is this happening here? Why are the girls being all cranky? So we're going to go ahead and open the 2 rooms upstairs and allow them to mix for about a week, 2 weeks before we release them to the downstairs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just to try to let them get back in some level of comfort with one another. And we've got to figure out what we're going to do with Latte as far as making her a little place in Donna's office where she can have kittens and feel safe.
Oh, God.
She don't want to be around nobody else when that's going on. I'm confident.
You're probably right. Catty female felines, yes. Well, what have you gotten done on the creative front?
Nothing.
Okay, fair enough.
The book has been turned in. It's going to come out tomorrow. So that part is actually done. Weirdly, they're still doing beta comments on it. So I guess they'll, update it with any more comments that I address. I got a note today. Say, hey, you want to look back at the document? There's been more comments. Like, the book comes out tomorrow. We'll put them in later. Okay.
I love V. You're muted.
The process, it's unique. That's a very unique process that occurs.
I agree. I want to see how this works in real time. Oh, there's been an update to the book you're reading. Oh, there's been an update to the book you're reading. Oh, there's been an update to the book. I know.
That is completely not how it works.
I know that's not how it works. But it would be funny as hell.
And I just realized that once again, they didn't get me my advanced reader copy to pass on to anybody, so I don't have it.
Don't. It sounds to me like there's a general failure of things here. Just all sorts of problems.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Communicate, yes. Well, I'm glad you're taking your break.
V didn't need to come off mute. Her face said it all.
We have a saying in my house, and it's usually between me and my daughter. Something will happen, and neither one of us will say anything, but we'll take 5 or 6 steps, and one of us will turn to the other and we'll go, your face is talking. And it's usually like, I know that wherever you walked past was a whole bunch of bullshit, but you need to kind of, and otherwise, if someone else sees you, they're going to know. Yes.
Well, I have been outlining.
Heresy!
I'm outlining. I've got probably, I think, 70% of the book outlined, and I may just leave the rest, at least, I may leave 20% of it completely unoutlined with maybe just some names of things.
Insert big explosions here.
Pretty much, because I want the end to surprise me. I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, I just don't know who's going to live.
Must be one of your books.
Must be one of my books. Well, I mean, this is going to be interesting because the book has a lot to do with experiences I had when I was a kid. So there's going to be some of that. But I'm thinking one of the boys may not survive. Thinking maybe one of the boys will not survive. I'm thinking it's going to be ugly and nasty and I'll get in trouble for it. But it's the way to go. We'll see. We'll see.
Sometimes surviving is meaner than not.
I know, but if you knew what I had in mind, you'd understand. Maybe. We'll see. I got to make it work. I'll make it work. So I'm chomping at the bit to write this thing, but have not put down any words yet. Been doing mainly research, and going back to 1983 has been kind of crazy. As far as looking at music that was popular at the time, looking at books that were popular at the time, the media that was popular at the time, what these kids would talk about, what their fathers would be talking about, yada, yada, yada. It's been rather a trip down amnesia lane, so we'll see where it ends up in this book. But I'm hoping this will be the third installment for RTP and satisfy the contract, and it should be a hell of a lot of fun. So I just got to write it. After I finish recording everything, which, oh my God, I still have to finish Oceania before I can do anything else on anything else that needs to get out there so I can sell some books. So that's pretty much it. That's my summer. My summer is going to be nothing but recording, and I'm already way behind. Go figure. But we're not here to talk about that.
What are we here to talk about?
That's a very, very good question. One of our members in the community mentioned something in the topics channel about backstories. And since I've been working on camp, because that's the working title I have, it's really trash, but I don't know what else to call it at this point. Going back and thinking about backstories of characters, and it's also a backstory of who I am today, which makes things rather interesting from a writer perspective. It gets a little meta, but I'll twist things around quite a bit. They'll be unrecognizable to the facts. But it did give me the idea. It's like if you're looking at stuff that's happened to you and you want to include that for this character, it may be something in hindsight that you put in there, and that helps develop that character, even if it's something that actually happened to you at one point. So it's almost like you're writing your own backstory, which I think in a lot of ways we all do anyway, because we bring our wealth of experience to our characters in our writing. But there's a way to do this where it's not obtrusive. Terry, how do you handle it?
I just be obtrusive.
Obtrusive. How so?
I don't worry about it, whether it's being obtrusive. If it sounds right, I just do it. I don't get myself all hung up on being concerned about what may intrude into the story. It's part of the story if I feel like telling it.
Okay. I like that. I would argue it's also part of the story or it's also needs to be written if the story needs it.
Well, sure. That goes without being said.
That's where you have to think. One of the books I wrote that I really liked and it didn't sell well was Station 3. And one of the reasons I liked it so much is I got to create a backstory, sort of, amorphous backstory for one of the characters, the main character. We see everything through his eyes. I got to talk about his planet, where he's from. I got to talk about their religion. I got to talk about the kinds of things they did on that planet and why he knows the things he knows and why he thinks the way he thinks. And that was so much fun, just taking these little pieces of having him remember something and go through it. And half the time I didn't know what it was I was going to be writing. It was just, I have a chance here to put this character in this universe that is so different from where we are now, to describe why he thinks of the ocean when he's under stress, as to why he says some of the things he says, and why he approaches death the way he does. And it was just fun to do that. And hopefully it was fun to read too, because it described some things from the character's point of view that were also disassociated from the characters, so we saw it more from 1,000 foot view, even outside of him. So there was some comment that could be made on it from the third person omniscient narrator standpoint that the character couldn't possibly know or even realize about themselves. And it was just fun to put those in there, and it was a good way to bring the story's tempo down, because it needed places where we had a moment to catch our breath. And those little historical pieces that you put in there for your characters are another great relief valve for that. Have them catch their breath and tell a story. There's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, it'll make your characters more believable. It'll make them a little bit more... I think it improves the reader's ability to connect with the character. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So that's just me. I love what's going on over here.
Yeah. So
Real life can sometimes be unbelievable.
Take out your bingo cards, because I completely agree with JR on this one. There's a lot of times where if you're pulling from your real life, and it's like, what happened, it's, you've got, you have the scars and trauma to go along with it. It actually happened. Like, no, nobody does that. That's completely unbelievable. And sometimes you have to tone it down, because nobody actually has that happen.
Nobody's that dumb. Yeah, they kind of were.
No, trust me. That. So yeah, it is fun to go back and figure out the character's history and stuff that influences them and what you can bring up. I think the challenge is knowing what you need to share and what you need to know for yourself to inform the character's choices and actions. That you don't need to necessarily do the "as you know, Bob,"
right,
as they're running through compartments. Well, as you know, Bob, I can't really shoot left-handed because, and then.
That would be a detail to bring up earlier, like when they're giving each other shit over something. Well, at least I can shoot left-handed. Oh, man, right. You know why that is. You bring that up way earlier in the book.
Yeah, and does it even matter? That's the other thing.
That's the other thing. Does it matter to do more than that? I can't shoot with my left hand. They don't have to go into an explanation and immediately switch. Well, that's the one you jerk off with, or something along those lines. And then it just doesn't matter from then on.
I see.
I mean,
not everybody's ambidextrous, Terry.
Excuse me. Do you eat with that hand?
I eat with both.
Well, I suppose that for you, Paul, the two things are not necessarily mutually exclusive then.
One to hold the magnifying glass, the other one to find the tweezers. Anyway, yes, as Rick says, as you know, Bob, I can't shoot left-handed because I lost my left hand to cannibal pygmies. I like this. Oh, thank you, James. I'm glad that you remember that line. Shark eats, turtle thinks. Thank you. That made me happy. James says, I have a good friend, we all have one, who has the most crazy shit that happens to him, from wandering under Sydney and nearly dying from spider bites to accidentally wandering into North Korea. Wow, I do not want to hang out with this person.
Yep.
Hey, let's go for this thing. No.
You want to eat for coffee? No. Nope. I have to vacuum my cat. Yeah, that's it.
Vacuum my cat. I'm busy today. Those are great lines for characters to use. I just love it. That's just awesome. I love that shit. That's great. This is Sydney Sweeney. I don't know if I want to wander into North Korea, just saying. That makes for an interesting backstory for a character, though. What lesson did you learn?
Actually, that's the premise for one of the better K-dramas I've watched. Accidentally not wandering into North Korea, but accidentally paragliding into North Korea.
Ah. What was I going to say? Oh, here's something. I don't think I've told this story. I don't think so.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. There used to be this thing called the Soviet Union. And if you go and look where Berlin is in Germany, of the maps at that time, Berlin is in deep East Germany. It just is. Now, half the city is controlled by the Allies, half the city is controlled by the Russians. That's just the way it is. In 1986, I went on a school trip over there and we started in Berlin. And we walked all over Berlin city to go to the Brandenburg Gate where Pink Floyd was playing a free concert, which was just fucking amazing. Our timing was impeccable. We literally stowed our bags and started walking after the plane. And that wasn't planned at all. It just happened. So when they played Comfortably Numb, you could hear them singing on the other side of the wall, which was just pretty cool. But the best part was 2 days later when we went into East Berlin. I got to see the Pergamon. I got to see all these museums that have all this stuff that the Germans acquired at that time and had not given back, all the way back to Mesopotamian artwork, which was interesting to say the least. But then we had to come back through passport control. And there's these persons carrying their AKs and their Kalashnikovs, and they're looking very dour and everything else, as you would expect from pictures of the Soviet Union. Did those people ever learn how to smile? So anyway, I'm in line with one of the girls I knew in high school, and she's all worried about the border guards. And I was like, don't worry about them. They're just duraks, which is Russian for idiot, or close enough to it. And one of the border guards heard that.
Uh-oh.
And he went to one of the guys handling passport control and leaned down and said something to him. So when I came up there, I handed my passport over. The guy grabs it. He puts it up to my face. He glowers at me, looks at the passport, looks at my face, glowers at me again. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, what have I done? So finally he stamps the passport. And he goes to hand it back to me. And the last second, he takes it back, puts it right up to my photo again, up to my face, and just glares at me like I have never seen before in my life. Closes the passport, slams it on, and points. Get the fuck out. Never said a word. Never said a fucking word. But I wondered for a brief second, am I actually going to be allowed to leave here? And that was one of those.
Hello.
And that was one of those terrifying moments when you're, stupid loudmouth kid. Is oh shit, there are actual ramifications that could really be life changing if you don't fucking watch yourself.
Did you learn anything from this?
Hell no.
Oh, what a wasted opportunity.
I learned that their biscuits are so hard they can chip teeth and be used as cannonballs. That's what I learned.
Be soaked before you eat them.
With what? Oh, yeah, with beer, which we weren't allowed to have in East Germany, but we were in West Germany. Don't ask. I still don't understand that, but whatever. So, that's an incident where that kind of changed me. Just little stuff like that, little anecdotes like those things are basis of character, and you can always use them. James says he learned to bring an extra pair of trousers out of tossed hands. Yeah, no wandering over the border, but they could walk right up to the border and talk to each other. Yeah.
Having lived in Moscow in 99 and 2000 for a total of 6 months, I can assure you that you need to be respectful of the men with automatic weapons.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, it was
See,
that was the 80s for you.
I learned a lesson about how to behave there before I ever went, because the guy that I replaced, I had to be sent on a kind of a hurried sort of thing because the guy I replaced was persona non grata. So,
what did he do?
He was purportedly, I'm going to use the word purportedly here. He was going from the apartment building to the main street and cut through an empty block where apparently there was drug dealing taking place.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to say purportedly because having met the man, I'm uncertain that he wasn't there trying to score. So you
Gotcha.
can take that for what you want. But when the nice men with the automatic weapons showed up and told everybody to freeze, he took off running. They caught him.
No.
They absolutely caught him. And off to Russian jail he went. Apparently, it was a very unpleasant experience.
Oh, I'm sure it was very unpleasant. I'm sure they went to great lengths to make it more unpleasant than it needed to be.
So they told me the full story of what had happened to him before, as part of the recruitment pitch of, we need somebody to go over there, and we'd like to ask if you'd like to go do that. I'm like, sure, I'll go do that, because the per diem was awesome. And the lesson I learned before I go is one that I already knew anyway. When the nice man with the automatic weapon tells you to stop, you stop.
You stop.
You're a guest of the country. Obey the officials.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it. You just have to do it. And don't wander through places where they're selling drugs, you moron.
You pay somebody to go do that for you. Don't you know how this works? Probably if you're in a foreign country, the best idea is to not do anything that is illegal, because no.
That generally is a good idea.
You mean anywhere in Moscow?
There were also plenty of guys over there, apparently, that partook of ladies of the evening. They actually had them line up on the streets. Apparently that was a thing over there, because right like quarter mile away from the hotel, the apartment building, there were places where they could line up on the street. And I'm like, A, why would you? Because nothing good was going to come out of this. And B, it reflected on them, because the hotel staff, they were watching you. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that, since that's where all the Americans were, that there was a KGB influence already there, except that it was FSB when I was there. But,
yeah, FSB.
But I have no doubt that there was somebody watching. And you could tell just from the old guy that ran the elevator, you could tell from how he treated you what kind of person you were. Because I got nothing but smiles and happy greetings from him, but there were plenty of guys that just got dour looks from him. I'm like, okay, I guess I could figure out who is who here pretty well.
James says, partake of ladies of the evening. Oh my God, that's a British level of avoidance. You know what? You're right. It is. Partake of ladies of the evening. GPS says it's only a 10-minute walk, Terry.
But to be fair, both of those stories, just the little snippets of that, they do explain and illustrate key aspects of a character's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Mumbling, or just quietly muttering the Russian word for stupid to
But
your
thinking
friend,
it.
but to your friend in line, and then subsequently getting yanked aside to be scrutinized by the person. That there's traits of personality that can be explained there and showcased. Being the guy who gets called to replace the purported purveyor of
not purveyor.
Oh, sorry, partaker of unique substances and experiences also says something, because who can we send who's not gonna pull that shit? Let's call that Mixon guy. Yeah, he'll do right there.
He's mostly harmless. It's tattooed on his forehead.
It pretty much worked out for them because I caused them no trouble.
And that's the thing. It's those little bits of how it speaks to the character and describes who the character is without just straight up saying, Yeah, he is a trustworthy, no problems kind of guy.
Yeah.
It's more fun with the story and explanation.
But those little anecdotes like that just make things better, I think, with the characters.
Part of the advice that I got when we went over there was that foreigners are singled out for attention because they're foreigners, and if they're singled out for attention, you could sometimes shake them down for money. And so people were advised, don't go anywhere if you're not in a group, blah, blah, blah. So what did I do? I went everywhere alone. But my clothing meshed very well with what everyone else was wearing. I didn't look around like a tourist. I was basically looking at where my feet were going and just going from point A to point B. And on 2 separate occasions, the security service people walked around me to go after somebody else to ask for their papers. I got stopped and asked for directions. I'm pretty sure at least a couple of times. I couldn't speak Russian, so I don't know. But I apparently looked like I belonged. And that's the key to not being harassed, is you have to look like you're part of the scenery. You have to be part of the scenery, or the people that are looking for things that stand out will find you.
That's a good point. Hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to the advice I got when I was in high school. I went to a math and science magnet program within a high school, and this is the first public school I went to, because I went to parochial school from kindergarten through 8th grade. And so rules, I did not want to break any rules. I was stunned that I didn't have to wear a uniform to school, and that I need a hall pass if I'm going to go someplace. And I had to go ask the director of our program. I had to go to the library, and I was like, do I need a hall pass? And he looks at me and he goes, just walk like you know where you're going and no one is going to stop you. I'm like, oh, really? It's like, yes. Oh, okay. And it's interesting advice, and it often works. But yeah, if you there are 2 parts to that. One, it's where you can blend in, but you also know what behaviors to exhibit or not exhibit, to set yourself apart from what you typically look like, or the vibes that you typically give off.
James says, Terry, there are easier ways to just let us know you're a Russian sleeper agent.
Do svidaniya, James. Do svidaniya.
If Terry is so good, what went wrong to make him go bad and become a writer? We've all
Poor
wondered.
life choices.
Poor life choices.
I met JR, and that was the end of the matter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Xander says, I'm currently planning a romance story and figuring out how to drop the backstories to get the 2 characters closer during the campfire scene. And I'm struggling not to go full dissertation.
Here's how you get them closer. Go ahead and have one of those, sparks that comes up out of the campfire, land in an inopportune place, and have to help put out a little clothing smoldering incident and bring them a little closer.
Well, think about ways when people tell stories. So often people, what James said, telling stories over a beer and vague references is a great way to give character backstories without just shoving them at someone. And the other thing is, are you worried about your main characters knowing each other's backstories? Or is it important that the reader understands their separate backstories? Because disagreements often arise because one character doesn't know where the other one's coming from. But you can reveal somebody's backstory during a conversation with their, best friend, a sibling, a coworker, and still get the point across. So yeah, I've struggled with that, and I've usually, make people go to the grocery store, have them take, a pet for a walk, and someone tags along. Yeah.
Oh no, there's a little flame on my pants. Proceeds to get hit and slapped hard and wishes the fire took them.
That's where you just like throw your drink on them or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, Terry did work for NASA. Agent Sextagenarian.
Agent Sextagenarian. Agent Sextagenarian.
No. No.
Matt says a high-vis jacket and a clipboard are the modern equivalent of an invisibility cloak. You know, you have a point there. If you have a hard hat,
you gotta
if
have
you have
the
the hard hat, you can get damn near anywhere without anybody looking at you funny. Carry a hammer and a hard hat and you're good to go. Or a tool belt, rather.
Yeah, the clipboard is a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. That is a really good one.
I've used that in stories before. In fact, I've many times in stories made mention about how if you act like you belong and you have the right props, that nobody's going to ask you jack.
Yeah, they're really not. James says, and in these stories, occasionally there are all kinds of bareback stories.
Oh, what kind?
The ones I write? Nah, I'm not that
Once
good.
you read. Now she has to think, oh my God.
I have to think. A handful. Only a handful. But
Xander says, I help my friend do pen testing at companies. He's one of those ethical hackers. We got into a top 500 company with a ladder and vest. I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it.
I totally believe it. If it ain't raw, it ain't right. Antoine, be part of the scenery. Me, 6'4" African American. Yeah, be part of the scenery in Russia. Yeah, that's going to work out real well. I can see that completely. You don't have to make it a dissertation. It doesn't have to all happen during the campfire. You can tell portions of the backstories anytime before these people meet each other, and what they relate at the campfire needs to be just pleasantries, necessarily. With maybe a dip into an anecdote or two, depending on how much small talk they're trying to make and how awkward it is. So,
talking getting in with, a ladder and whatnot. People show up at secure doors with their hands full of things all the time. And 99% of the time, somebody will let you in if you're right behind them.
Yep.
And we were warned not to do that at NASA. We were warned not to let anybody go ahead and, skate in after you. Of course, it never did any good. People did it all the time. One time, I went ahead and challenged the person behind me. Let me see your badge. They didn't have a badge on.
Oh.
So I said, bye-bye. Closed the door in his face. I'm sure that if he'd known who I was, I would have gotten shit for it later.
Probably. I don't have my badge. Tough. Go see the security desk.
Yes, that smells like somebody else's problem. That smells like your problem.
Yeah. Security is such a fascinating topic, especially all the ways it goes wrong. All the dozens of ways it goes wrong.
Social engineering is an amazing sort of field to figure out how to use people's humanness against them to get what you want.
Get what you need. Sorry.
But you can't always get what you want. But
Right.
if you just might find, you get what you need.
Yes, something on those lines.
Yes.
Antoine says, I do it all the time at work. I'm hoping they give me the day off.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Just go home. We're tired of seeing you. You're always at the security desk. Go away. What other things do we need to know about characters?
They suck, all of them.
Sometimes you have too many.
Sometimes they need to die.
Well, no. Okay. Sometimes you don't need to kill them off. Sometimes the purpose of it, Paul.
What?
Sometimes the purpose, sometimes you can combine characters to serve a singular purpose.
Yes.
And it's and I think it's important to know, like, it can make the story better. Like, it can tighten up the story. It can have it flow faster. And often, if you see if something gets adapted from a book to, a movie, a series, a musical, characters will often get combined so that
I totally want to see Black the Musical.
what? Oh. I mean, why not?
The Black the Musical. Oh my God. Yeah, M2's sitting there singing. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Oh dear.
Feed me.
No more like, come, I'm going to feed. Totally different. Totally different thing.
Oh dear God.
If they need to die, make it gory, JR says. James says, Paul, kill them all. Terry, I can add another 30 who will never die.
It's true. They've got their little room. There's this big chalet on a mountaintop somewhere that when I'm not using them, they all go and hang out at.
I'm sorry, even the ones in mine that live are in pretty bad shape when they finally get out of whatever they happen to be in. Because that's just life. The sound of bacon. In the sound of bacon.
I do not have time to write musical parody, but unfortunately the lyrics are just like percolating right in the back of my mind. I'm like, I couldn't.
And in the neon light I saw so many people killed by Paul.
10,000 people, maybe more.
Xander says there's a concept I use at my TTRPG table for players that can't always make it. They get a subclass called Void Knight. What does that mean? They're just absent? They become a Void Knight? They come back? Oh, here you go. What happens is the Void Knight will randomly get sucked into the void and spat out somewhere else. So when a player can't make it, they're sucked away. When they come back, they get spat out.
When we have players that didn't show up, we kept them around and we kept them alive, but we didn't necessarily keep them all in one piece. And sometimes their belongings were lost or things happened. We kind of used them as a prop while they were gone. And you just had to deal with the consequences when you got back.
Now I'm seeing, like, was it God, was the Bernie movie?
Oh, Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. I've seen the whole Weekend at Bernie's thing with the with the other characters. That's awesome.
It's like, so and so casts mannequin, and then it lasts the entire campaign. It lasts the entire
For example,
session.
I play Traveler twice a month. Every other week, we have a 3-hour game over the internet. And last week, the GM's son couldn't make it. He's an EMT, so he had to go do things. Things were going on. So completely understandable. And I just told his dad to go ahead and text him at the end of the thing there. Go ahead and text him. Tell him that it's perfectly okay. He could still be a part of the party and get everything done with only one leg. It's really going to be fine.
That's just mean. That's just mean. You're a mean man, Terry.
Yes, I am.
The black would be perfect. Matt says, went to a biker's funeral last week, and the music as we got there was The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. Good call.
One.
It's a good one. I still prefer the original. But I'm old school or something.
I don't know, man. Disturbed really knocked it out of the park.
Oh, he did a really good job. He did a really good job.
Weren't they supposed to have someone else sing on that?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oh my God, James, what are you doing? Are you using ChatGPT to make the Black musical? Is this really what you're doing? I like this. If you're writing it, I liked it. I like it a lot.
I mean,
Rick says Disturbed's version is better. And you can't account for taste. Johnny Cash's Hurt cover is very good, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cash's Hurt cover is just heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. I do like it more than the original too, but probably for different reasons than you. Still, it's a great song. It's a really great song. Nine Inch Nails used to be a lot of inspiration for me back in college, along with ministry and everything else. Okay, back to the Void Knight. Or more funny at a tavern full of people and one gets sucked and the party has to be like, yeah, that happens to them sometimes. Some song I forget the Rising Sun song. Oh God, who is it that sings that? Terry?
Animals. The House of the
I don't
Rising
know.
Sun is by the Animals. I think it is.
You are correct. I'm assuming there's a cover of it somewhere. I like that
There's
song.
several
That's a good
covers
song.
of it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, House of the Rising Sun. I like that one. What is the strangest backstory that you've given a character, Terry?
Oh gosh. I don't know that I've ever really given somebody a weird and strange backstory. Not to that degree. I think that
V,
one of
can
the
you think of
stories
one?
that I wrote had one of the characters was somebody like, before John Wick was a thing, was like John Wick. Had turned his back on being an assassin, being some badass. But it was never, brought out to the level of, is it really something that's going to do anything?
Okay.
I have way too many characters that I created for Secret World Chronicle that have, because superheroes in the apocalypse, that have really interesting backstories. Yeah, I traumatized them a whole lot. Seriously. I mean, and very little of it comes from my own background. They're bits
Gotcha.
and pieces because my background, I think, is boring and there's not a lot there. But yeah, all of my characters need therapy in some way or another.
I think everybody's characters need therapy.
True. Yeah.
I think half the writers out there need to be in therapy, but that's what they have characters for. So
I was about
it
to
all
say
makes sense.
that writing is just like a form of it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think
James says, Terry, the alternate universe princess who got traumatized by machines and nanotechnology, mutilated and abused, who turns up in the current story.
That's a pretty ugly backstory. I'll agree, but I'm not sure that it's a strange backstory. It's definitely not a very pleasant one. It's like the mirror universe, and that's where I got the idea from, was the whole mirror universe and bringing somebody that was a horrible and twisted reflection of what was possible. Actually, that's not true. Where I got the idea for this character was from a book that we read for the show when we were doing book reviews. You remember the Klein book? I think it was Doorways. Doors maybe. It's where they created a thing where they could go in one little doorway and come out elsewhere on the planet. Does that strike you as something familiar?
Is that the Fold?
Yeah, I think it is actually.
mm-hmm.
But they
Yeah,
go
I
through
think
the
it's the
one thing
Fold.
and they come to the other. As the story progresses, you learn that it's not actually a doorway to place on our planet. It's a doorway into an alternate reality that is very close to our own. So you may not ever notice a difference, or you may, and in one of the instances where they used it, the guy came through it and morphed to where he was like all bent over and had been shot up and was starved, and it was a horrible world that he had come from that just suddenly made reality right in front of them. And seeing that, I was like, I could see something that was a terrible reflection of what Kelsey could have been coming through from elsewhere.
Yeah, some people become the Joker, and some people become a hero.
Some just become a victim.
Some just become a victim. Very true. Yeah, that's a good book. I haven't thought about that book in a long, long time. Need to read that one again. Don't read Dead Moon. I'll save you the.
I passed on it. I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in the whole zombie apocalypse on the moon path.
It had. I'll leave it at that. I just yeah, no. I read it. You don't have to. James says he liked Dead Moon. It was funny. I don't think it was supposed to be. And Tawan agrees with me. Yeah, as long as you approach it tongue-in-cheek, knowing it's stupid, it's probably okay, but there were portions of it, I wanted this to work, because he led on in such a way that I wanted it to work, but then it was just kind of like, never mind. I wanted to take it seriously, and obviously I failed. Oh my God, Terry.
That actually popped up in my news feed. It's a real story. I haven't read it, but I'm tempted. I am real tempted to read it because
TSA warns Americans to stop showing Costco cards at airport security checkpoints. You have to be
how
shitting
stupid
me.
are people? Apparently
Oddly
stupid enough to show them Costco ID cards.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you have a Costco ID, there's a photo on it, right?
But it's not real ID compliant. And that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, true, but it would if it's an issued card with your picture on it in some states, that will satisfy half of your voter's ID requirement. You just have to show something that has your signature.
I absolutely love the actual headline. TSA tells Americans their Costco cards won't fly at airport security despite
what?
Despite love of dogs.
And you're breaking up on us.
The TSA said, don't show it even though we love hot dogs.
Don't show it even though we love hot dogs. Got it. How stupid are people? Average IQ is defined as being 100, so 50% of people have an IQ under 100.
Not necessarily.
Really? Is 100 average? I thought, honestly, looking at society, I always figured it was close to 90. I gotta say.
I agree, Xander.
Yeah.
They almost put me in special classes because I did not do well on my IQ test. But I have never done well on a standardized test in my entire fucking life. And when they try and give you something like that, it's 6 or 7? What the hell were they thinking?
6 or 7, and those of us who do really well on standardized tests, they wanted to skip me like 3 grades. And my mom was like, socially, let's not play that game. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably a really good thing that we didn't, because
I met those kids, and they did not turn out well for them in college.
Mm-hmm.
Sanders says, because I'm a dumbass and got a 96th percentile on the ASVAB, whatever that military test is.
It's ASVAB. It's not an F, it's a V. And
ASVAB.
I took that test in the when I joined the military in the 80s, and I scored in the 90s on everything there too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting it's interesting to learn about a lot of those quote unquote tests and then realize that all of the standardization was based off of a very small group.
Sampling,
and, yeah, a very small homogenous group that does not accurately reflect the population most of the world, and therefore it's a shitty test. So
most tests are.
Yes, they are.
Except for the test we're about to give you, which is for you to name our $10 patrons. Go ahead.
Oh, no pressure.
No pressure. No pressure, V. Come on.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, you hear me say it every week. You got to have it memorized by now.
You're assuming I pay attention.
This is about the time we tune out.
Well, if you have a comment or question about this episode, you can leave it at debrobotsociety.com or youtube.com/DRS podcast, where we are live every Saturday, except when we're not, at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live. And you can also find us on Discord. The link is in the show notes. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive shows like the one that's coming up in about 10 minutes. It's called After Dark. I wonder what we're going to talk about. Discombobulation, I think. And if you're at the $10 level, you get your name read.
Hold on
and
now.
Our $10
patron anybody here.
Our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. And with that, we are going to get out of here. Thank you very much for spending some time with us and making chat fun. That was hilarious. You guys are awesome. I just love it every single Saturday. Oh yeah, we love you. Even you, JR. Even you.
You've admitted it twice in one show. He'll listen to this on repeat now.
Can you go ahead and tune that bromance down a little bit?
On that note, after I go and sit on my safe space for about 2 hours and think about all the nasty, horrible things Terry has ever said to me, we are out of here. We will see those of you in After Dark in just a few minutes. And
here's the nastiest thing I've ever said to you. You and JR, bros.